Welcome all to the latest episode of the Lofi Podcast. Today, my guest is Elen Hope Music. Welcome.
Hello, guys. Thanks for having me.
No worries at all. It's great to have you along. I love seeing all of your Instagram posts and everything. You're always so happy. You're always smiling, and you're a great face to have in the Lo-Fi community. So thank you for coming along.
Thank you. The whole idea behind my artist name was Elens Hopeful Music. So I'm happy to know that my happiness and joyfulness is bringing brightness, maybe lightness into the community.
Absolutely. Even just talking to you now, seeing your smile, seeing you laugh, it brings so much joy to see. And so, hopefully anybody who watches or listens to this interview, they will also have the same hope, the same joy that you try to bring. So thank you. Okay. So to get started, could you tell us a little bit about who is Elen Hope outside of lo-fi, outside of music? What do you like to do, everyday life kind of things?
I would say that I'm a very average and normal person, but I do have my own hobbies. I like drawing, even though I cannot draw well. There was time I did archery as well, and if the archery centers reopen in my city, I'll go there again. That's the average, normal life. Nothing girly either. There was time that I was really into nail art as well, but now you see that I just do not have the patience for all these layers to dry. And
Yeah. I mean, archery, that's really interesting. I've only ever done archery before, sort of as fun in little archery centers, but I don't know, were you very serious about it whenever you did it?
I think I treated it as a hobby. We had the role playing team here, like LARP. I'm not sure how to what it stands for individually, but we used to role play. I had my fake archery bow, and I attended a few times. It was really exciting. I also did the real sport archery at the center, but just a hobby. And of course, it's the fault of Skyrim, because every time I play Skyrim, I end up as an archer.
Yeah.
It's inevitable, guys. It's inevitable. Stealth and archery.
Yeah, so I mean, if you mention Skyrim, I'm guessing you're a bit of a gamer as well.
I didn't mention that. So yeah, pretty much into. I mean, I treat it as not something outside of music or outside myself. This is I love gaming. It's part of me. It's been with me since the childhood, and uh, yeah, gaming is really a big part of my music as well. I recently did a Witcher inspired track with lo-fi beats, and probably so many more will come.
Yeah. So I know you mentioned, so if you mentioned Skyrim, you mentioned The Witcher as well. I'm guessing you're really big into fantasy RPG kind of games. Is that sort of the stuff that you like?
Yes, but I also like cyberpunk as well. So I'm not really a genre defining person. I enjoy what is fun, what is really enjoyable. Even Stardew Valley, I played so much of it. Uh, what else comes to mind? Even the GTAs. Okay, yes, I played GTAs. For me, San Andreas is the peak of the franchise, but I haven't played outside the fourth part. Oh, Assassin's Creed as well. So we started talking about gaming. I love this. So tell me about what do you find gaming also enjoyable? Do you find time to play the games?
Well, yeah, that's the one thing. Ever since college, finding time to actually play games has been really difficult because I had to choose between gaming or music, and so I had to choose music instead. So hopefully over the summer I'll have a little bit of time to catch up on a few things. But I know it's pretty old, but I've been very slowly playing through the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. And yeah.
Wait, what do you mean it's
So
old? What do you mean it's old?
okay, sorry. So,
No,
well,
it's not old.
it's not old. It's not old. We're still young, don't worry.
Still young.
So, I've been playing through that on the PlayStation 3 for a while, but ever since college, I've been sort of stuck halfway through the game. So hopefully, I'll have it finished this summer. And what else? There is, I've mentioned it before actually, on another episode of the podcast. Where do you know the game Cuphead?
I haven't played, but I
Yes.
do know.
Okay, well, if you're not keen on a game that's you're constantly going to die in, you'll be playing the same levels over and over, stay away because it was so frustrating. I got about 3/4 through the game and I decided, no, that's it, I'm stopped. So maybe you want to try it. There is an easy mode. I didn't play it on the easy mode, so that might be my mistake, and that's why I didn't really enjoy it too much. Um, but here, before this becomes a gaming podcast instead of the Lofi podcast, maybe we should go back. Maybe we should go back into music a bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So,
Yes, of course.
so, just to ask then, how did your musical journey start? Like, did you start with an instrument from a young age, or were you a bit older when you started music? Sort of, where did Ellen Hope music begin?
I have a very, very mixed background. Um, my connection to music started since I was 16, like very serious and intense. Uh, I've graduated music college through classical singing department. Then I got my degree in English studies and also had my minor had music subjects there as well, composition. That was the first time I started writing music. It was more orchestral. Um, then I downloaded Cubase at that time and wrote music for like wellness apps. One app is Lubo, which is oriented on the ambient sound. Uh, I wrote some music, epic music for fantasy style video game demonstrations and trailers. So after that, I enrolled in conservatory music technology department. This is where I started to record and got classes in mix and master as well. And though I suck at mix and master even today, I'm really bad at it. I'm really bad at it. And composition as well, experimental style. So, so your question is when did Ellen Help music originate, right? So at my workplace, I worked as a librarian at the orchestra, and at the other orchestra, I was an admin slash manager. And during the breaks, I kind of had this urge to write something hopeful because the schedule was really tight, and just to relax and chill, I wrote music. It was after COVID. The first time I even got to know lo-fi was through Lo-Fi Girl. I think most of us did during COVID.
Yep, that was me too.
Yes, but I didn't write lo-fi music for at least 2-3 years after COVID, or after like getting to know the Lo-Fi Girl and the lo-fi genre. So during all my workplace, I realized that I liked it just so much that writing music and being a producer was kind of my thing. And this was something that I really, really enjoyed and loved. So this is where I came from. I decided to write hopeful music for people.
Hmm. Yeah, but it's crazy to hear that you've had so much of a musical background as well. I mean, working with orchestras as well, studying music, like that's it's almost the dream of so many musicians to be able to just spend so much time and surrounded with so many other musicians as well, right?
It was a dream job and it was not easy to quit it. It was it was really hard. So you get in touch with so many wonderful musicians, so many different conductors, uh, wonderful staff, this sense of community, and the feeling being part of something grandiose and having a sense of purpose. So it was really difficult to, it was really difficult to live the job, but
Wow. And so whenever you were in that job position, like were you able to like sort of glean information from the other musicians and sort of help each other learn different things about music and things like that?
I suppose I was the one learning. I'm not sure that I was able to share my experience because the musicians were already so wonderful and the conductors are amazing, wonderful, the administration wonderful, amazing. So I was the one like a sponge trying to get all the information. I would sit with the full score, the orchestra score during their rehearsals and see how all the instruments merge into each other. So it was a dream job indeed. And I mean, if a musician gets the chance to work with the orchestras, like do it for sure 100% because the knowledge you might not immediately get where you can use this knowledge, but trust me, believe me, time comes when you will absolutely need this and it will be so helpful for you.
Hmm. Yeah. I think yeah, that's a case where we should always be open to get new information from people. We should always be like a sponge, and if there's someone who's been there for a couple years more, learned a few more things from us, just always have that open mind to hear what wisdom that they've gained, and it helps us grow to be a better musician, or not even just music, anything in life. Just spending time with the people who have the experience, it can help us to grow and learn, and as long as we go towards them with sort of a humble heart, that's the best thing that we can do.
A humble heart. This is well said.
And so, whenever you started producing your lo fi music and things like that, I'm sure maybe there was a little bit of trouble figuring out choosing the right DAW, the right VSTs, things like that. How did you go navigating this massive world of different sounds and different pieces of software?
Um, as I mentioned, I already had experience writing music. I had Cubase as my primary DAW, but due to my CPU, I turned to Reaper, and I stick to Reaper even though I have a much better computer now. Um, it was not that easy to find lo-fi genre-specific VSTs. I found Lofi, if I'm not mistaken. There was the first VST that I found really, really beautiful, and I decided to use it. And as for the drum pattern, there's a uh, copyright-free sample pack, Namaste, by Krithi and his friends. So this it wasn't that easy to figure out because when you listen to like the lo-fi girls artists, like such crispy snares and the immersion, like I was like, how can I do this? How can I achieve this? And it seemed easy at first, but it's not. So through practicing, through collaborating with many artists and releasing with the labels, I was able to grow. and get into more specific uh, techniques after that. So, not before that.
Yeah, but I think it's the fact that it's learning experience. Whenever we start, where it's I find it really difficult to find lo-fi sounds too. I find a couple of sample packs from. I'm sure you've heard of cymatics before.
Yeah, yeah, but there's always this copyright issue because a lot of labels mention not to use cymatic. So unless transformed dramatically, we're really
Yeah, that's because it's always the copyright legality that I find difficult. And so I find some signs from them whenever I started off. There's a YouTuber called Venus Theory, who makes a lot of like synth sounds, and he makes music for video games as well. And so I downloaded some of his sample packs. But as I experimented and as I begun to work with other lo-fi artists as well, I think it was just talking to them and finding out where they got their sounds from, how they developed their music. And that's what really helped me grow the most, rather than going and trying out 100 different sounds. It's a bit like what we were talking about earlier with talking to other musicians in the orchestra scene, in the orchestral scene, that we're getting information from them to help us understand what we don't know yet, I think.
and I think it's the right time to mention that the lo-fi community is very friendly and very supportive. You can just ask anyone, like, "Hey, can you help me with this?" And they're just gonna help you and support you and give you some tips and clues with so much precision, like, yes, do this on minus 16 dB, or just this frequency. You mentioned this during one of our collabs, like 444 or something with this frequency, just like just put it down minus 3 dB, and like, oh my god, numbers, we're talking to numbers, this is great.
Yeah, but I mean, like, even, yeah, it's no matter how big an artist is, like, it's almost anybody you speak to, they're willing to help. I mean, whether you have 1,000 monthly listeners or whether you have 100,000 monthly listeners, it doesn't matter, because we're all just musicians and we're all here just helping each other in whatever way we can.
Do you think that maybe because our community is quite small compared to other genres, is this why we are so helpful to each other?
I think so. That's definitely one of the reasons. I think because it's small, we get to know everyone as well. Um, and so we send people messages, whether it's on Discord or Instagram or anything. We get to know them not just as a producer, but also as a person, right? A little bit like this podcast too, where we hear about the artists, their stories, where they've come from, and because we have that sense of real connection with the artists and not just a name, we're able to be more open, be able to be more free and willing to help, because we know they're a real human being, a genuine person, just like us. Yeah. And so, whenever you then got into lo-fi production, and I know you mentioned that you did singing as well before, and so I've noticed in some of your lo-fi you've been integrating singing, you've been integrating cello as well, loads of organic instruments and things like that. How did you get experimenting with this and finding it in the music you produce?
I'll start with the singing, because when I was just started making lo-fi, I was doing, I did listen and I did try to have somewhat lo-fi style. I used a lot of my singing in my earlier tracks, but the problem was that not many labels were open to this amount of vocals. So I kind of started to adapt, and uh, it was a period where I didn't put any vocals, but I don't necessarily think it was a bad thing because I got to learn how to integrate guitars or pay more attention to the chords, the piano, and so on. And after that, I think now I'm in the phase where I want to do what was my mission what was my mission first of all, like spread hopeful music through singing as well. uh, I recently released Cloud Gazing, which I think it's lo-fi, but a lot of people say that maybe it's more to the pop or folk genre. It has lo-fi beats and really atmospheric vocals. So for now, it did not reach the audience that I thought it would, and it's a pity. But I'm moving forward. I'm still going, and I want to produce more of such vocal tracks, and hopefully I can like encourage others to do the same, because I think vocals are something really really intimate, and that comes closer to the human being. I mean, every instrument can sing to you, can speak to you, but for some reason I'm biased. Like vocals are vocals are something really really precious to humans. As for the cello, no, I really love the instrument. Uh, for now, my playing is not that good. I just practice for 2 hours to do like two notes. This is something that people do not see, is how much effort we put into individual notes. We might practice for like 2 3 hours for a little passage, and but I think cello suits lo-fi, like integrates in a very smooth way. Unlike vocals, because vocals are always too flashy unless they're in the background. So for me, cello and orchestral elements have always been part of the lo-fi sound for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think with vocals, it's what you said. It's the most pure instrument, I think, because it's coming from us. It's a human sound we're making with our voices. It's purely organic. It's not a guitar, it's not a violin. Although those instruments, they mightn't be electric, they might be making sound through physical means, but vocals, they're coming from us, and that's why every vocal is unique, because every voice is unique as well. We all have our unique voice print, just the same way we have a unique fingerprint. And it gives the music that personal touch as well that nobody else can replicate.
Even though I'll argue that almost all other instruments sound really different. Every instrument, it has its unique sound. Even working at the orchestra, we had like how many violins? We had at least 10 violins, and every violin would sound differently. If you can believe this. So I'm trying to advocate that every instrument is like also a person. For me, my cello is also a person. For me, so I called her Allison. So yeah, but the level of closeness comes through vocals more than any instrument could. But every other instrument is also like a person and can speak and sing too.
Yeah, that's a very interesting way to look at it. I think, yeah, because I suppose there are no two instruments that are exactly the same. It's impossible to make. Like the wood that's going to be used, it's going to be different. The age of the strings, whatever, if it's a stringed instrument or if it's a percussive instrument, like the skin used is going to be different. So yeah, it's very true that every instrument as well is going to be perfectly unique. And I've never heard the different violins to hear the difference, but could you like tell me a little bit more about that? Like how were they different, and how did you tell the difference between them?
Uh, First of all, I'm gonna say that I'm not the person with the excellent precision of pitches, or I don't have perfect pitch or anything like this. The warmth that they give you, this is uh, how I would describe them, the warmth that they give you. Some instruments give you a warmth with very low frequencies. Some have very quite beautiful high end frequencies. They give you different warmth in the body when you hear them. So this is the only way I can describe the difference between all the instruments. Even though there's the one same violin or viola or cello or double bass, that they're different. And the woodwinds, of course. I'm sorry, woodwinds like flute. Oh boy. I'm trying not to exclude anyone from the orchestra. French horns and anyone, anybody.
Yeah, no, because there's so many different parts that make the orchestra the one big group. Okay, so we talked a bit about instruments being unique, but I suppose as well as instruments being unique, we're also unique in the style of music that we make. Even though it's in maybe a lo-fi genre, we can still have our own characteristics to it. And so, how did you find making your own style of lo-fi, this unique Ellen Hope style of lo-fi, that's still you, but also, what's the right word? It's still acceptable. Maybe that's the right word, enough for like labels and other people to listen to. So
Fits the label requirements.
yes, requirements, that's the word. Yes.
Oh, I would say that it wasn't that uh, easy at first because, first of all, when I started to make lo-fi music, uh, I I didn't my music did not contain any bass like at all, and this was something that I had to work and learn because a lot of labels want very deep and rich bass. So I had to learn how to make it and integrate into my music. And now, if I do not hear the bass, I feel like something is missing. And so it's. I'm still in the process of uh, finding my own style. I started off with my own unique style, if I can say this, 100% the unique style. I did, however, use the beat pattern that were royalty free at the time. I had to learn how to make a beat pattern. Yes, ironically, I'm making lo-fi beats, but I don't know how to make beats. I'm more of a uh, melody, harmony, and composer person than a beat pattern person. So, throughout my journey, I had to learn that a lot of labels needed a specific sound. So, I'm still trying to balance what they require. They require like bass. For example, Ocean Gazer Records has really, really dominant bass sound, and what else? Like the crispiness of the beat pattern also matters for some labels. And I suppose I maintain my own style by using the instrument that I really love. You're gonna hear a lot of bell textures as well as Spitfire Audio's synth number four. Synth number four is something that is almost always in every track of mine. This is a very lovely synth that I really enjoy. So I'm still in the process of figuring out my own style, but I think we all evolve, and this is not something that, oh, this is your style and I have to keep doing this, because lo-fi evolves. Lo-fi back 4 years ago is not the same as it is now. A lot of uh, a lot of really high-end recordings are being made on the piano or the guitar. It's uh, it's almost about the vibe of the lo-fi than the actual textures of the lo-fi that was back then. If I'm making
No, that makes sense. I'm just laughing at the fact that we're meant to be lo-fi beat makers, but we can't make beats, because I was the same, and I still am pretty much the same too, because I find it really difficult to make percussion. Like, my background in music was with piano, and studied classical piano, and then I taught myself guitar, and so those were the two main instruments that I now use in lo-fi. I have no experience with percussion. I don't know how to play a drum kit. I don't know how to. I can just about make a sound if I'm hitting bongos, but I'm just not good at the percussion side, and so that's something I had to learn over the past few years. And so maybe rather than lo-fi beat maker, maybe lo-fi melody maker is a better name, because I love making the melodies, but whenever it came to collaboration, that's when I would always try to get help from people saying, could you help me make a little bit with the beat? I don't know what to do here. And it goes back to what we said earlier about the lo-fi community is willing to help anyone at all, no matter what. So, and that's what I love. But making your own unique style is something that I find has taken me a long time. And it's still changing. Sometimes I get a little bit bored making one genre of music, so I'll experiment, try something else, and maybe I can then take parts of that genre and make it into the Hajime Hattori sound, whatever that's going to be. And that changes every month, every year. It's going to evolve, as you say, because we're not the same people as we were last year or the year before.
So you've mentioned that you struggle with the beat pattern, but I have never noticed that. I mean, when I listen to your music, I mean, maybe it's because you got help from other producers. I feel like, oh my god, how did he make it? This is the crispiness and the mellowness. And
Really? Wow. Okay.
I'm serious. I'm
Okay.
serious.
I I've never thought that, but maybe it's because as artists we're sometimes our worst critic, and we're harder on ourselves than we should
Yes.
be sometimes.
The courage to be disliked. So the way we perceive ourselves being perceived by others is totally different than the way people actually perceive us, and the way we see ourselves is like way worse than it actually is, and we keep to overthink and like think of the worst scenarios when the reality is that maybe they don't care. So you said something to somebody and you're like doing, oh, maybe I kind of should have said that, maybe they're maybe offended, and sometimes the reality is that they don't care, they didn't even notice that you said something. Our worst enemy is here. The limit we set for ourselves is here.
Yes, I agree. Because whenever I was younger and I used to play music, and whenever I played it live, I used to be always worried about any little mistake that I did. And then I realized that whenever I even listened back to a recording of myself, I didn't notice the mistake that I did whenever I actually was playing. And so sometimes we're so worried about making small mistakes that we forget to see the bigger picture, and we forget to see everything else that surrounds just a tiny little flaw, and we make it the biggest thing that it ever is, even though it really shouldn't be. And so my way, I think, of looking at it is sometimes there's two extremes where we're so prideful, we think we're the best thing ever, but also sometimes we can be so harsh on ourselves, and in reality, as you say, a lot of people, they don't even hear, they don't even think of some of the things that we think that they perceive us as. And so sometimes the best way to go with things is just let it be. Just, moving on, and just don't let it bog you down. This actually leads into the next question that we were talking about. We were chatting about failure as being a part of growing and success as well. And so maybe how can we use this as and enjoy the process a little bit and not focus on the little failures, but let go, move on, and grow from the little mistakes that happen?
Uh, uh, I'll say this, please, guys, no offense. If you're writing music, first and foremost, you should love the genre that you're doing it. So you should be loving every aspect of it and listening to other people's work as well. But here comes the fun part. And as a person, a real failure, guys. I throughout my life, I've done so many mistakes. I've failed so much, and if there was a symbol for failure, like, come on, look at me. If I'm doing this and I see growth, you can do this. I mean, come on, guys, you can do everything. Where was I? Failure is also part of growth, and I want to give some examples, but is it okay if I mention labels, or if we should keep this?
I mean, as long as we're talking honestly and we're not talking in a way to bring anyone down, yeah, you can mention
No,
some.
no, no. I'm doing the best thing that has happened to me.
Yeah,
I want
that's
to
okay.
mention Lo-Fi Stories, which the great label that recently shut down, and this is really sad. And there was a track of mine that they declined, but they have given such amazing feedback. They have introduced me to Isotop's plugins for mixing and mastering, and this is where I really started to, like, if I was like this, it shifted my like perspective, and my whole workflow like skyrocketed in a different direction. So I want to say, if rejection is also part of success. It's not the opposite of success. It is exactly a part of success. If something doesn't work out, you should still keep going. If you love what you're doing and you love your genre and you love doing, you enjoy the process, you should not really be overly concentrated on the outcome, more on the process, because we live today, we live in present, and of course we want the best outcome for our music, for our career. But uh, when one door closes, a window opens or another door opens. And statistically, the more rejection you get, the chances of you getting a yes increases tremendously. So uh, I'm going to give another example of a track of mine that got declined by label. Like yeah, it didn't fit their compilation. So I sent it to another label, and oh my god, the level of support that they gave me and the amount of joy I got, the track really got so much recognition and so much love from the audience. And a rejection does not mean that you're a failure. It means that you still have some steps to grow and steps to move forward. This is something I think a lot of us relate to in the community. Uh, it really sucks. It's really bad to get rejection, but I think the more we get used to this part of being rejected, the more encouraged we will be to like push forward, because we're gonna get 10 rejections and then one yes. Okay, we're going forward. We're gonna get 20 rejections and one yes, but this yes is a really, really good yes that will probably like uh, pave the path to a greater career success and so on. So,
Yeah. Um,
what
I'm
was the
think.
original question?
No. It's okay because it's made me think because it's a sense of perspective. We can look at rejection and failure as something that will get us down, and we're going to give up, and we're never going to do this again. And or we can look at it in another way, in that, well, I've been told that this track has been rejected, but I've been given some feedback by the label. I'm going to work hard on whatever the reason was that they rejected it and be the best I can be at that. I'm going to keep on working hard. I'm going to keep on doing as much as I can, learning as much as I can. And you become so obsessed with it, and it helps you to grow. It just depends on the way you're looking. I think going back to talking about video games earlier, I know you mentioned Dark Souls. Um, I've never played it, but I have a friend who loves that game, and I've talked to him about it, and he says if we and I'm just imagining in my head a boss in that game is like every time you get defeated, it's like rejection. But you keep on going, you go back, you do a couple of side quests, you level up your character, and you find you go back again and you defeat that boss, right? And it's treating that failure, treating that rejection as an opportunity to go and grow and get better and learn more about how you can be the best you can be at what you do.
Okay, I'll be honest. I haven't really played Dark Souls that much because the first boss uh was destroying me for 1 month, and then I kind of changed the class of my character, and I finally beat the boss, and I was like, okay, I'm done with this game. I'm so sorry. I really enjoyed music. I mean, I love the music. Yuka Kitamura is like amazing. She's wonderful, and I listen to her music, and no, dude, Dark Souls is way too hard.
Yeah, that's one
But
reason
your friend and
yeah, yeah, I've stayed away from the game for that reason, because I know that once I start, I'm going to get frustrated and I'm never going to touch it again. So, yeah, but so one last question that I've got here before we wrap up the interview. So we've talked a lot about failure, we've talked a lot about community, we've talked about finding our sound and things like that. And so whenever we want to help others in the community, like I know you've done projects like even I've worked with the sample pack that you've made as well with different vocal ideas. We've done collabs before. There's so many things that we can do to help each other in the lo-fi community. And so from your point of view and from what you've done in the lo-fi community, how can we help us to grow closer together, to be more like a family, to be more like yeah, just people that we can reach out to and have genuine friendships with?
I guess we should be honest with each other, and uh, we should um, uh, try to share information because sometimes there are some communities which guard the information so they don't share it. But I think it's very important that we share all of our experiences, and this is what the community is doing. Like, regardless of if you have like 1 million monthly listeners or 100,000 or 10,000, like people are sharing information even on Discord. Oh yeah, this Discord community is going to be a huge help if you're a beginner producer. Lofi Castle is going to share a lot of. They're going to give you a lot of support, a lot of feedback. Like almost every label is willing to uh, give feedback, some suggestions, or any specific question that you have, they're going to answer. So I think this is the way we can grow. Yeah, I want to mention two essential Excel files that I found like a must have for me at least, and I want to suggest and like advise other lo-fi producers to keep first Excel file is going to be your schedule. So you're going to have your calendar, and every time you have a release, you're going to have you're going to mark it, as well as all the compilations that the labels have. You're going to mark them in the calendar, and this is so helpful because, oh, look, like, oh, Sleep Tales has just announced the compilation. The deadline is April 1st, and you're going to put it in the calendar. You're not going to remember this. Believe me, you're not going to remember every bit of this information. So put it down. Don't be like me. I was like, I'm going to remember everything, and then I remembered nothing and missed so many deadlines. And like, given the deadline. So, Excel number one is schedule calendar, and you're gonna mark that. Excel number two is the label file. Is it okay if I send, or can I share a screen?
Yeah,
Can I share the screen
that could work. Yep. For anyone watching the YouTube video, they'll be able to see what you're talking about.
Yes. And I think this is it. Can you see that? Can you see that? So I've blurred some parts.
Yes,
So
I can
on
see
the
it.
left part, it's the list of the labels. It's the link to their Google Drive or their website or Instagram or whatever. Just some information that I put, and on the top are the my tracks. Every time I submit to a label, I keep track when I submitted and if I got any response from them. Rejection is red, green is acceptance, and gray is no response. So yes, so about the failure, I wanted to show you this. Look how many red there is. Look at the grays. This this is inevitable. We do not see this from other producers, and it's okay if you get rejected now, because if you're gonna stop like here in the beginning, I don't know if you see my mouse in the beginning, it's gonna end there, and you're not gonna get the acceptance, like the greens further in your career. So always the one reason you should keep the track so you do not double submit to a label. Another reason is that you keep the track when the label responds. And okay, look, there was one label that there was no response for like 5 or 6 tracks, and I was like, okay, maybe maybe it's not the right time for me to submit. I'll just to do something else, and then maybe later I'll submit to them. So it's always good to keep track of this specific thing that you do. Like the submission is very simple, but you should always keep track of it.
Yeah, I think one thing that I
This
find.
was
Oh,
something.
sorry. Yeah, because I think one thing that I find very difficult, and I still do find difficult, is being organized in terms of music release. Sometimes whenever something comes out, I forget that I have a track being released that day, and I open up Spotify and I see the track there. It's like, whoa, I forgot that I've got that released, you know? Yeah. So I mean, that's happened to me more than once, and so I think that's really good information for especially producers who are submitting a lot of tracks and are trying to forget where they've sent things. That Excel sheet will be absolutely fantastic for them. So, Elen, thank you so much for this interview. It's been great to chat with you. Yes, and so hopefully we'll hear back from you again soon. But until then, keep on being this amazing member of the lo-fi community you are. Like, genuinely, you said that, you know, the hope is meant to be for hopeful music. And well, hopefully, in some way or another, this interview will encourage people to just go out there and make something great. So
I do hope so. So thanks for having me. Have a great day.
yes, and you too as well. So here, all the best.
Bye bye.